listening to The Two Marks exclusively on the Pod Station.
Welcome, listeners, to a new show brought to you by The Two Marks. This time we are embarking on a vicarious journey of discovery through the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Hold on to your hats as we follow one person's experiences watching all 27 movies in chronological order. This episode we are reviewing Iron Man 3. Welcome to the Marvel Marathon and a little bit more. Now a word from our sponsors. I just love to dance, and it keeps me fit too. From ballet to sensuous Latin rhythms of salsa, my toes don't stop tapping. That's why I'm looking to healthcare options through My Choice. Then I'll know my feet are in good hands. That's the flexibility of My Choice. Let me introduce my friend and co-host, Mr. Mark Pollard. Hello, how are you?
I'm in trouble now.
You're both dead.
They pay good money for that advert. That's buying our new equipment.
Pollard, you are definitely dead. And Latham's going to come to the funeral and die too.
I was predicting a divorce ceremony. I didn't know funeral was going to be first, if I'm honest.
Defo. Why go with divorce?
There is scope to edit that out. It has been placed with scope to be edited out, subject to how much trouble I may or may not have found myself in.
In fairness, tactically, you've only just got married. Mm-hmm. You've got a lot of time to get that swept under the carpet. The question is, do you want that left in or out?
Leave it in. Fucking hell.
Do you want to give some backstory to that?
Well, would you like to give some backstory, seeing as though this is probably the last time listeners will ever hear from me?
I mean, East is East, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You are definitely dead. You are definitely dead.
It gives him, as a fellow thespian.
Oh my God.
He can relate.
Well,
Right.
I haven't actually been
Iron
in
Man
Hollywood.
3 are we talking about?
No, East is East we're talking about.
No. Iron Man 3. What did we think of the movie?
Well, I thought East is East was a really eclectic mix of both Bollywood influences and quality acting. What did you think about it?
You're on an LPD.
I know. First of all, for benefit listeners, because it means nothing other than we're just giggling at each other. Backstory to this.
Right. I was 14 years old at high school studying drama GCSE, and my teacher, because I was on cue to get an A star on my drama, East is
Why does
East,
that not surprise me?
were
Swap.
auditioning for roles, and my drama teacher put me forward. Clearly I didn't get the role. Thank God I didn't. And my mother told my husband, who had then shared it with you. Now the whole world knows it.
There's only 4 listeners to this show.
Thank you, Mum. Yeah.
I don't know why you're embarrassed about that. I mean, this man makes a living from it over here.
I know.
He gets rejected on a daily basis.
I am marginalised every day.
That does make me feel.
He has an agent, right, who sets up jobs for him that he gets rejected from.
Okay.
Peaky Blinders. Thanks, Killian.
Yeah.
So there you go, you see.
Fine.
You're like brethren. I brought you two closer together.
Did you though?
Like the Ukraine and Russia.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, we'll keep that in then. Great stuff. So moving on to why we're here, which is not the Bollywood styley.
I'm in so much trouble.
He's panicking. That's panic mode.
This is me, panicked.
Why have you got the
flummoxed.
sweats now?
Yeah.
It's that massive gilet. He's
It
got
is
on
actually. That's coming off because
Yeah.
Latham's dawned us
Da,
with
da, 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 da.
the heating.
Yeah, for my benefit.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain, Ish, why we're here?
We are here to review Iron Man 3, as Latham has said in the intro. I am on a journey of discovery.
Do you know what the title of this film
It's a
is?
really slow journey.
Iron Man 3.
Well done.
Oh, yeah.
She's
Got
getting
it.
there. She's getting there. She knows the
I
titles
know.
now.
I know.
I mean,
Yeah.
we calculated at the beginning it was going to take us a while to get to the 20 or so movies, only to realise that they keep on adding movies on top of that, added to the fact that we've had a couple of months hiatus whilst life got in the way. At this juncture, probably about 2050 when we'll actually be up to what is the current date,
Yeah, which is
releases.
quite exciting, isn't it?
by which time Marvel will have produced another 400 million.
And our children will be taking over the show.
You'll have to pass the baton, won't you, to the
Yeah,
youngsters?
basically.
The young Avengers.
And you can just kidnap one off the street and that can be your surrogate.
Well, if we're going with that, I've got a few already.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
So next,
selling them to
next
Angelina
generation.
Are you
Oh,
going to make them audition as well?
seriously. The death stare.
For Diwali. Is that the right one?
No.
I'm culturally appropriated there.
Ignorant.
Why don't you have that holiday as well?
Right. Should we move on? Now I've thoroughly upset my wife, and Latham he's upset everyone, but that's fine because Latham's Latham. He gets away with it, which I'd like to highlight is not an acceptable reason, and therefore he should either be in the doghouse or I should be allowed in the same house that he's in.
No.
But for the record, I'm not married.
Yes, I know.
So there you go. That speaks volumes.
That's why he is in a different house to you.
However, we have a film to discuss.
Yes.
It's Iron Man 3. Mm-hmm. That's where we're up to in the time chronological viewing of the film. So we're not watching release, but time order. We've just come through Thor 2, The Dark World, and we're into this one. Do we want to get a rough gist of where we all stand on this film first?
Sure. Do you want me to jump in?
Well, you're the star of the show, love.
Yes, love.
Do you see what I did there?
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of loves going on
Oh,
here.
mate, I'm going to be shoveling.
Everyone's... Yeah, okay.
Just think of how many foot massages you're going to be getting.
A lifetime worth. And more. Anyway. Average. It was average.
Average.
How disappointed was I on this film? Which obviously Pollard already knows, because I was a bit like, really? 2.5 hours of my life I don't think I'm going to get back. And I love Iron Man, as you well know. This, for me, was a step too far in terms of how many movies can you make before it stops getting entertaining. And I think Iron Man 3 did it.
Wow.
I think every film suffers with the law of diminishing returns. However, I'm surprised by your response there. And I'm also surprised you stayed awake for 2.5 hours.
It was before my bedtime.
And it was the second attempt at watching it.
Yeah, because the first attempt was a big fail. But anyway,
Why is that?
I fell asleep.
I won't-
But we got there. You're not
Watch it
really
like
painting a really good picture of me in this.
Narcolepsy is nothing to be ashamed of.
Thank you.
It's a recognised medical condition.
I might add that I do get up very early, and that's why I go to bed early.
Yeah,
And in fairness, if you didn't like the film, it makes all the more reason why you'd fall asleep during it.
Yeah, okay.
But we in the bed's not an excuse, although that is a medical thing that's accepted these days.
Fuck off.
Hey then, what about you?
I can see why people would not like it. It didn't get as much loving as the other two did. I did actually like it because of the darker tone it took, and that it took note of what had come from the outcome of Avengers. Avengers start from beginning.
Yeah.
Film.
Assemble.
Well, that's what they say. You say other things.
Get
I
together.
get together and party. I quite like the fact that it went on a darker tone and brought in some other comic book story threads, which for me gave it a bit more of an edgier. It wasn't all bants.
That's why I didn't like it, because I felt like I missed the bants and it was too dark for a Marvel film.
Okay, although we have had darker films, which we may not have seen yet. The tone of it, Tony's growing up. So you've gone through the first film and the second film where he's recognised he needs to make some life changes and he needs to be a bit more mature. This for me was the movie that set in place completely where he was in his life and where he was headed for his story arc. I enjoyed it as much as the other two.
Interesting.
Maybe a bit more.
Pollard?
I mean, it's very unfortunate given how we've started this podcast that I now find myself siding with Latham. On this, I would much rather be siding with you, but I like this film. I understand what you say. It was a much more violent film, and you'll see this as you go through the Marvel movies going forward. It can be darker, but does still have that levity. I mean, there's lots of levity in this. Phil Happy Hogan was great levity. There was some really funny bits. Pepper Potts and the Mandarin, Tony Stark's relationship with the kid. So there is loads of stuff throughout.
Yes.
And this is actually where Marvel managed to find their real rhythm, where they can keep things really dark and really serious and explore real topics. So Tony Stark is suffering from PTSD because he strapped himself to a nuclear weapon, was about to disappear into space, and just by sheer good fortune and nothing else managed to fall out of the sky and survive it, and understandably now suffers from anxiety and stress and PTSD as a result of that experience. It's good that Marvel haven't just gone, oh yeah, he survived, so I'm sure he'll be fine about it. And they properly explore it. They properly show he's finding it quite debilitating as a result, but that doesn't stop him from doing the levity thing. And one of the main criticisms, remember, when this film came out was the absence of Iron Man. They were very much banging on about, well, what's the point of watching an Iron Man film if he's not dressed as Iron Man? Again, I don't feel that about this film. I like the fact that you got more Iron Man, not least because you got to see him as Iron Man, albeit without the suit, but you do see enough of the suit and the technologies to still get that feel for it. I liked it. I really enjoyed it.
I would continue that thought with the fact that actually they didn't shy away from the PTSD issue, but what they did do is delve deeper into the impact to people around him and what he does to protect himself. So all he's doing is he's tinkering in his little workshop and he's making an army of Iron Man suits, and because they're all attached to him through nanotechnology, they appear when he has a nightmare. Pepper Potts being his love interest, they touch upon how that impacts her, because obviously she is living in Tony's world, who tends to be...
Am I going to wake up in the middle of the night now with a suit hanging over my head and a kitchen knife?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Mark 42's at home for you.
Oh, I don't know if that's a threat or a promise. Because I got a lob on, man.
I'm definitely taking it as a threat right this second.
I got it as a fantasy thing. I clearly didn't pick up that emotional note.
I will be dressing defensively this evening.
Good.
With your Hulk buster. They touch upon that. He's building, he's tinkering, he's working away, and he's the kind of guy who keeps everything inside. He doesn't share things, and yet he's got Pepper Potts, who's his counterpart and counterpoint to his character, and yet all he's doing is building suits, keeping it internally, and that's ruining him. And then the kid is the conduit for him to release some of this. Yeah, and the kid's a really important component to this film, as is the main villain and then the sub-villain. Leads into what I've been saying for a long time. Tony Stark has a lot to answer for. He mostly creates the villains in the MCU. Just a wonderful movie, and I think too many fans forgot the comics can also be a little bit raw, a little bit serious.
That's what I think was...
And that's what happened. I think
Mm.
all the fans went to the movies expecting Tony to be weeing in a suit and eating a donut in a donut, and that's not what happened. They peeled back. Like Picard in First Contact, he's got all of his full uniform on. By the end, he's in his underpants because he's gone through the battles. You have Tony Stark raw. It's Tony Stark. Secondary to that is the Iron Man,
Yeah.
which is what Captain America says to him, is what are you without the suit?
Yeah, and ironically, going forward, and we won't mention it specifically because it'd be spoilers, but there are films further down the line which are equally as dark and equally as serious, with the same sort of levity parts thrown in. And everyone thought they were amazing films, and I just think this was perhaps the first time that Marvel went, well, we can't always be funny, lighthearted, we are going to have to address serious stuff at some point.
But I think that's what I'm saying. I think I've got used to how lighthearted the films are and how enjoyable they are and how you can just watch it and lose yourself a little bit, whereas I think this was a bit too serious for me.
I'm very excited about this. There's going to be disagreement.
I still like Iron Man, it's not like I'm Team Cap, just to make that really clear. My allegiance is still with Iron Man. I just didn't enjoy this film as much.
As these films go on, I do worry about your marriage.
The bone of contention.
Well, one of the films coming up will be Civil War, and I kind of think there's one happening right now.
It's brewing and bubbling and simmering. Right, should we go through chronologically through the film like we did last time?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to start at the beginning then. I mean, that sounds obvious.
Yes.
But with your notes, Ish, we're all over the bleeding show.
Well, for the record, we're going to be using my notes again.
You've got notes. I'm surprised by that. Is this the new you?
Well, no, what I generally do now is just record single sentences that remind me of the scenes so that I can...
Who does that?
What?
You record into your phone?
No.
Oh, right.
Right, sit down.
No one's as sad as you on that.
I was going to say, I wondered where that inspiration came from.
I record it as in like text, write it.
Oh, you just talk to it? Yeah.
No. I actually sit there on my phone and type it out. If you'd like to take the lead...
Look, I'll kick it off by talking about Aldridge Killian.
Well, that's not the start, is it?
Well, it is the start, though.
Aldridge Killian, but his name's
well,
Aldrich.
I suppose we are.
Aldrich.
Are we starting in the 90s?
Yeah, because that's where he first gets introduced into
No, I
this
don't remember there
story.
being that many mullets in the 90s. Was there that many mullets?
Tears for Fears was mullet-based, wasn't it?
Early 90s, you kind of coming out the 80s, which was mullet haven, wasn't it?
If we're listening to one of your Spotify lists who are not a sponsor, your 80s consists of 60s, 50s, jazz, and 90s.
Not as per Apple Music, by the way. That was
as
an
per
Apple.
Spotify, who are a sponsor soon. When they hear you mention Apple Music.
The 2 marks at thepodstation.co.uk. All credit cards are accepted.
So, sorry, is it Aldrich?
Aldrich Killian.
My
yes.
bad. I didn't get that.
I mean,
anyway.
you only watched it twice, it's not your fault.
Once, in this case.
You leave her alone, you.
See what I did there? You look good now.
Cheers, man.
Bromance. Okay. I'm glad you got each other's backs. I liked him. I like this baddie. Aldrich Killian.
Yeah, no, I got who you're talking about. I was waiting for more.
All right.
You see, we didn't know he was a baddie at this stage, and actually, you don't really know he's a
You
baddie
see
until
him.
pretty further
No, you
along.
do. He gets rejected by Iron Man. I mean, you're going to be a bit pissed off about that,
But
aren't
Laden
you?
gets rejected all the time, and he's not a baddie.
Is he though?
I could be a baddie.
Yeah.
I'd like to think I would be an anti-hero.
You defo have a dark side.
Shh. Probably darker than I like to tell people. I mean, I knew from the comics that he was a baddie, but you knew something was going to come and bite him on his bum later on.
Probably not to the extent that it did, but yeah.
No.
And did you think that she would come back to bite him on the bum?
No, that was
because
a surprise.
I think there's a main theme in this film throughout, which is that the baddies, there's quite a lot of mic drop reveals about who is and isn't a baddie, because of course we've got the Mandarin turns out not to be the Mandarin, but what's his face as an actor?
Tony Slattery.
Yeah, Tony Slattery. Who's
Tony
just
Slattery, that's an actual bears. Terry Slattery.
Terry Slattery, if Tony Slattery would like to be a sponsor of the show. We've obviously got the botanist and Aldrich
Killian, yeah.
Yeah, turn out to be bad. There's kind of a lot of those big reveals throughout this film.
Yeah, that was a mic drop that she was a baddie. I did not expect that at all. But I loved it when it was revealed.
No one was really obvious. I mean, I suppose Aldrich was a potential obvious, but even then, it wasn't till later in the film where it became more apparent.
And you still thought the Mandarin was the main of the movie. That, at the time, the fans weren't happy with. The MCU were accused of whitewashing. As per what I say all the time is, let Marvel do what they do very well. They won't leave anything on the table. As we know from other things we've seen that we'll touch upon in the future, it kind of got rectified, didn't it?
What did you think of the Mandarin when you first saw him and his videos? Because you didn't know this big reveal. I mean, me and you did this time. Did you think whitewashing, this is ridiculous?
No, because I don't have a backstory to the Mandarin. This is a new intro.
Did you think he was a good one? Were you excited about his introduction into the Marvel Universe?
Well, at the beginning, no, because it had reference to the Ten Rings, which I've only seen in Iron Man 1, briefly. Other than that, I don't really know about the Mandarin.
You didn't think he was some sort of vitamin C lover?
No.
Or an orange.
He's obviously a baddie because of the way that they portrayed him.
Yeah,
but
he went down the sort of
Was it because he spoke in a dark, scary voice?
Obviously.
Yeah.
And
of course blew people up. That was a giveaway.
A little bit, yeah.
Although it can be perceived as cheeky.
No.
He's a bit cheeky.
No, he's not cheeky though.
Was he?
That's reserved for
Loki.
Loki,
the cheeky one.
Yeah.
Cheeky Loki.
No, Mandarin is not cheeky.
What would you say he was?
Just plain evil, isn't he?
True.
Yeah, they portrayed him as a terrorist, haven't they?
Yeah.
And the Ten Rings being some sort of Middle Eastern terror cell. Yes, it was mentioned in other movies. They've focused on it more, which is great.
Gives us a bit of a backstory on it.
They brought him out of the shadows now. I enjoyed it. I quite liked the twist. I did like, as you mentioned, the other villains that you didn't know that were creeping up.
So where does Mandarin sit in the Iron Man universe? Is he the main arch nemesis of Iron Man, or is he more a generic one who comes up against lots of Marvel superheroes?
In the comics, he has dealings with Iron Man, comes across a lot of the superhero teams and things. Marvel do this a lot. They bring people in and then they might not do something with it and the fans get all
precious,
angsty, and then down the line Marvel will revisit something they've planted as a seed. Then all the fans forget that they got angsty and get all excited because Marvel knew what they were going to do 10 years previous and have taken their time not to rush it. And so with this, I never got upset by the fact that they had the twist to the story, because if you've seen the Marvel one-shot All Hail the King, it's already resolved then anyway, and it's on the DVD release. It wasn't a hidden gem. If you watched the one-shot, it already addressed the fact.
But in this film anyway, you walk away thinking the Mandarin is no longer alive.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because you feel like
Aldrich
is the Mandarin and he gets killed, so I walked away thinking, okay, that's the end of the Mandarin.
Okay.
And I have reached that conclusion as well.
That's because you've not seen the Marvel one-shot, isn't it?
We haven't, yeah.
Okay.
But that's the takeaway, that's the end of him.
Maybe you just got a takeaway.
Maybe.
Just a Kung Pao chicken.
Oh, yummy.
Now, not to keep the feisty debate alive, but where does this film land in being a Christmas film?
Ooh. Now, you see, you pull a face, Ishtar, but it's got snow in it.
What?
It's got snow in it, it's got Christmas songs in it, it's got a big Christmas bunny.
Very Die Hard, I thought.
Tony Stark throws on a Christmas tune to get his suit on right at the very beginning. This has got
Christmas vibes.
Christmas all the way through it.
What, the actual? No, it does not.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
It doesn't give me Christmas vibes at all.
But that's not the point, is it, Mark?
No, it's not, Mark. And I'm glad you pushed that point.
Thank you, Latham.
Because
I felt weird calling you Mark there.
I know,
sounded weird.
Isn't that right, Latham?
Yes, my nose was bleeding.
I thought we went really personal.
Like crossing the streams there.
It was, yeah.
Any people call me Mark, people telling me off.
Which we only normally do in the urinals.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The Iron Man suit lands in the snow, fully furnished
Fir forest?
Yeah, which he then drags behind him like a sled.
Yeah.
Which is lit up like a Christmas tree.
Shit, I didn't even pick up on some of those things.
And he then takes takes it to a log cabin, which is all filled
Why
with
is this even
And at the end, it
important
gives
then?
him a kid a Christmas present, his little den.
like the gift, isn't it?
Yeah.
Was
And
this
the-
released at Christmas or something?
I wondered that. Let me Google it while I finish throwing my phone around.
He's making it hard for me to edit this.
It's going to be hard enough because you're going to have to try and make me sound like a nice person. Iron Man 3 was actually released
Is it May?
in April 2013.
Okay.
So not Christmas.
So it wasn't even remotely released close to Christmas, and yet there are Christmas vibes all over this show.
Okay. Why is that important again?
Well, it's
Well-
just an observation.
Ah, okay.
I think a lot of films like to do that because they like to emulate the Die Hard. People still debate whether it's a Christmas movie or not.
Yeah, is Die Hard 1 a Christmas movie? I say yes. Some people say no. Is Harry Potter 1 a Christmas movie? Many people see
I'd
it
say
as
no.
because they show it at Christmas.
Yeah.
It's got a Christmassy scene in the middle of it, but beyond that,
Yeah.
it's not really.
It's
But,
like saying, is every James Bond film a Christmas movie because they're out at Christmas?
yeah, I mean, these are the interesting things. Is Star Wars a Christmas movie?
Well, Empire could be because it's on the planet Hoth, which is full of snow.
Yeah, and
I mean, Hoth, not Hoth. That's someone who runs down a beach with massive hair.
let us know, people. Go on the
Write in,
socials, yeah, Instagram, Facebook, at the 2 Marks, Twitter. Email us, the 2 Marks at thepodstation.co.uk. Address it to Ish and tell her whether or not you think it's Christmas.
Should do a poll, a pollard poll.
A Pollard poll, yes.
That should be a thing. We didn't do the last one, but we should do a Pollard poll.
You're busy doing stuff.
Yeah.
I think you should do that and find out whether they believe this to be quintessentially
Christmas film or not.
Christmas film.
Can we just go back on the fact that Killian shows the brain thing to Pepper? Have we?
We haven't
passed that?
got there
Oh,
yet.
right, my bad. Go on.
No.
then.
Still in the 90s with massive...
Are we
Go
still
on.
in the night?
Well, I've mentioned the Christmas thing because after the 90s, we move on to Tony Stark trying out Mark 42,
Which
Yeah.
is brilliant.
dancing to a Christmas tune.
Yeah, yeah.
Dashing through the snow, which is a Christmas tune, and when he's obviously getting his nuts rattled and his head whacked.
Mark 42 suits mega, even if it is
Mega,
flawed.
as in it doesn't work.
It's flawed,
but it's mega.
Yeah, because the technology's advanced.
So you like it because
tremendously.
It doesn't work.
it comes to you.
It comes to you, and he's injected himself, hasn't he? So now he's not got the bracelets anymore. He's just with the power of...
Grayskull.
To call a suit to him that doesn't work.
Yeah,
And
I mean...
doesn't defend him to the point where he nearly dies, Pepper nearly dies, his house gets destroyed.
Yeah, but they don't. They all live happily ever after in the end.
Yeah, but no
so-
thanks to the Mark 42.
But it's a cool suit. I liked it.
In the whole scheme of technological advances, though, even with its flawed concept, it's still far better than other ones he's had. The suitcase one was I quite liked from Iron Man 2, and then the one in the Avengers which jumps out of a roof. Now,
With the bracelets on.
if that didn't work, probably haven't got a plan B, have you?
No.
Whereas a delayed repulsor glove might not be the end of the world. When it's 42, you've also got another 41 that you can call upon, haven't you?
Yeah, as he does. At
It's
some
not
point
as
in the
if you
film.
suddenly go, oh, can't we use anything else?
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing as well, there's a conversation within Star Trek, which is every time they do a new iteration of Star Trek, they've got new uniforms all the time. And there comes a point, if it's in a certain period, where it compromises the other uniform that was done. Is there a need to keep making new uniforms is the question when you're still in the same period you were with Next Gen, and then you do another uniform which compromises the previous uniform. With the Iron Man, all the fans are like, oh, we need to see a new version of it. Because of the comics as well, you're aware of all the different iterations of the suits. I quite like those.
What about you, Pollard?
Well, I would prefer my super suit to work, particularly if I'm going up against deadly baddies, because, yeah, I don't want to die or get whacked on the nuts by a loose piece of metal.
Fair dues.
Although you will be wearing the box tonight.
Well, to be honest, I am going to get whacked in the nuts by a piece of metal later, so I will report back on just how Tony Stark did feel in the Mark 42. Moving swiftly on, talking about rebranding, changing suits, War Machine becomes Iron Patriot. Discuss. Is this something that happens in the comic books?
Iron Patriot's a thing.
Or the two, yeah, but
Yeah.
are these two separate suits, or do they rebrand in the way that happens in the film?
Off the top of my head, I think they're two separate suits, but what happens is the army take over and create Iron Patriot. What you would have gleaned from the second film is the government don't want Tony Stark to be the sole proprietor of that technology, and they feel, which is why in Iron Man 2, War Machine says, it's me, he's working as a conduit between Tony and the government. They rebrand expanded to make him more in line with what the public see. So it's not just Iron Man turning up on his own, unilaterally deciding who he saves and taking the credit. It's just a souped up version of War Machine.
And a quick opinion poll on this topic. Ish, War Machine or Iron Patriot?
War Machine?
Latham?
War Machine, a more rugged, hardcore version. Iron Patriot's a bit more Captain America for the Iron Man scene.
Yeah.
Like, yo, we're great.
War Machine with or without the paint then?
Without.
So just plain silver?
I liked the silver suit at the beginning anyway.
I liked it when it was souped up.
Yeah, right.
With the dark colours.
Oh, you wanted it pimped?
Edgy, yeah.
You're going bling-ish.
Silver always reminded me of George Lucas' Star Wars prequels, where everything was shiny, ridiculously shiny. When
the Cylons
the
from
Cylons,
Battlestar Galactica.
Toasters.
Oh dear. And during this in-depth conversation between Tony and Rhodey, this is the good Rhodey. I think we established in the last film we like this Rhodey.
Mm-hmm.
Tony has a panic attack while signing a piece of paper on behalf of a child.
Yeah.
First glimpse, we get this PTSD, don't we?
The paper he's signing is him going through a wormhole, so it's not the most thoughtful of pictures to sign.
Well, I suppose in fairness, the kid wasn't to know that.
That'd be like me signing a picture of my mum giving birth to me. That's a massive wormhole.
Not is that comparable?
It's like a
I'm
wormhole.
trying not to have the visualisation that I just kind of had.
Well, my mum's vagina, for the record, is not like a wormhole because that's ridiculous. But it's like I'm popping through it. I'm not carrying any weapons, but I'm popping through slowly.
Oh my god. Right. Mark's mum, if you'd like to send us in any pictures so we can compare his description. Oh dear.
I've got a flat nose.
But yeah, this is the first glimpse we do have of the PTSD situation. And I liked it because it was unprompted, it happened, he didn't know what was happening. Even Rhodey says, look, you're embarrassing me here, you need to sort it out, which is quite nice because it's almost a reflection of the real world where when people do have wobbles like that, perhaps the lack of sympathy or understanding that is given by the world, which is particularly ironic given what Tony Stark has actually been through to be suffering that in the first place.
Yeah.
Things he experiences is anywhere near that we would experience. Everybody thinks superheroes are infallible. And all it shows is that
we're not, by the way.
Well, it's what's that?
No.
Just shows the fragility of humankind. We've commented before that he is just a normal person who has brains and money. So the fact that we're now seeing the
human side of him.
Thor would never have that happen.
Would he not?
No, I don't think he would.
He's a god, isn't he?
You don't know this yet.
No.
He's just being a bit cheeky. Another really good factor is it didn't move away from the fact that, yes, he's surrounded by a suit of armour, but the thing that's his biggest weakness is his mind.
Yeah.
He's not infallible to being affected by what he saw and what he was involved in.
Yeah. Moving from what was a very deep and emotionally poignant scene, we now flip to Happy waltzing through the Stark offices, being happy. Ish, as a former head honcho of a massive corporation in the HR department, where do you stand on the issue of name badges?
Everybody should wear a name badge.
Fuck right. Absolutely.
Yeah, agreed.
I like Happy here.
I mean, Happy's amazing, isn't he?
He is. His one-liners, I did note that down. His one-liners were very funny. He lifted the mood after what was a heavy scene. So, yeah, I liked Happy in this. I think he's been given a good role, and I'm glad we get to see a little bit more of him.
And he does move the story forward. He does add the humorous
It needed
elements.
it.
Yeah.
After that.
But these are the pinches of humour that I was referring to before that you get that just sort of breaks it up. And absolutely Happy, I am 100% behind you that if there are name badges issued, wear the bloody things.
Yeah.
There's no excuse.
No.
I
never wear my name badge for that networking meeting, by the way. Is that a dig?
Well, that's why I was picking up the vibe there, because I don't wear mine.
Well,
now,
very few people do seem, and I very infrequently remember, so I'm not here to throw any stones in any direction.
Mark number 1 designs them, Mark number 2 prints them, and none of us ever wear them.
Depends on which one you go in, Mark 1 or Mark 2. I'm Mark 42.
Also, they don't work very well.
It just takes a while to get to you. That's what happens.
Okay.
But no, I don't wear mine, and I think it's because there's only 2 people in the room called Mark, so either one of us, we're both answer.
Okay. Fair enough.
And my dad doesn't listen to this show, although you did try to stir the pot when my dad was there by making reference to the fact I have mentioned my dad's challenges sometimes with technology. Happy on the FaceTime.
That was hilarious.
With the iPad being unable to turn the screen around.
Oh, man.
How many people have had that conversation?
How many dads do that and mums do that? Yeah. Oh, my
Loads.
God. Totally. That was funny that everyone can relate to a family member that can't switch the camera around.
This is where we actually come across Aldrich in his new sexy form, although did anyone else have an issue with his haircut?
Yes.
What was that? With the dodgy highlights, the weird mullet thing going on, and the weird fanny parting come together at the back.
It's Miami Vice kind of vibe in it.
It's very Miami Vice.
I mean, he's a baddie, who cares? He can do what he wants.
And he does.
And he does.
Yeah.
God love him.
When you're a megalomaniac, no one's going to say bad fanny part there.
So why is he allowed to get away with that haircut just because he's a baddie? So if a goodie racked up with that haircut, they wouldn't be able to do that.
Well, look, Latham doesn't like Thor's hair, so he never gives
I
him
thought you were going to have a go at
rating.
Latham's hair now. Oh, that's a bit harsh. Where are we going here?
Especially it was modelled on Pollard. Although he has got more of it than me.
No, you don't like Thor because you don't like his hair.
Is that right?
Yeah, because you said that in the last review that you didn't like his hair, so you didn't move. In bloody Avengers Assemble, you didn't change anyone in your bloody ranking, even
right.
though all
You
the
should
good
move on.
characters were there.
He should be, yeah, because there
I'm
wasn't anyone of
stuck.
note. Yeah, you should move on past
so we're
that.
talking about haircuts, and that's the only reason you didn't get him in your bloody list.
Well, no, but if I did say that, then there's a reason for it, and the reason, it's a bit long, and as we'll soon find out, it looks better in the future.
Okay, anyway.
But that's long hair, he's just done nothing to it. Aldrich Killian has done a lot since the 90s.
He's deliberately turned it into a fanny at the back of his head.
Yeah.
It is. It's a weird little thing going on.
But I mean, no one's going to say out.
Maybe when he was showing Pepper his mahoosive brain.
Which is amazing.
What, his brain?
Yeah, the thing that he did when he rolled the 3 balls and then it comes up, that technology was good.
Well, most of us have 2 and we get by just fine.
Yeah.
Just because he comes out with these 3.
Balls.
God, one of these 2 has to lower the tone every session. Silver balls. I can't make that right. So let's just skip forward, shall we? The brain technology is fantastic.
Well,
My brain is in your
brain's in his
balls.
You think me do that?
High fist right there.
Pepper's slightly impressed though, isn't she?
She is.
I think
and
we
there's-
all were though.
Dirty little hooer.
Yeah, bitch.
Yeah, she's proper like, I'll have a piece of that
Now
mullet,
she's
please.
CFO. She's like, oh, I think I'll have my ex-boyfriend in with his haircut. Forget the haircut. He's got 3 balls. That's what she's done. She's ignored that. She's got any man with 3 balls is all right in my book.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Obviously showing off his brain because she doesn't know it's his brain until he expands it, does it?
No.
It was just great technology for the film. I liked it.
Okay, good.
We then go to the house. Pepper arrives at home.
Yeah.
Wants to spend some quality time with her fella. Tony's in his suit, which transpires not to be Tony.
Yes, because he's trialing it out, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's
So-
very cool.
That's the facsimile. So he's tinkering.
Is he trialing it out, or is he trying to get the suit to do the thing that he doesn't want to do because he needs to keep working on the suits because he's got that sort of anxiety of, I need to keep building a bigger army?
Don't forget, he's the only Avenger who's seen what's coming. He's trying to build all of these suits. That suit that greets Pepper when she comes home is to allow him the extra time. He will feel protected. Actually, he's not really, is he? Because he's pushing himself away from the people who love him and he's isolating himself. He's ruminating more, and actually the thing that what he should be doing is speaking to Pepper or, happy and saying, look, I'm struggling here. And I suppose that's a good story about people dealing with mental health issues, isn't it?
Were you surprised about the way he did actually open up to Pepper at the time?
No, because you can get a gist that they've been together for a while and she's always been his person, so you expect that over time that relationship will grow and she'll be his trusted confidant on everything. So
I was quite surprised though. It was nice. It was a nice thing to see.
it's a nice moment, yeah. I like their relationship.
And just so I can get a heads up on whether or not to cancel the order, where do you stand on the enormous giant bunnies?
Cancel the order.
And everything else you've planned. The chocolates, the roses, the strawberries tipped in chocolate. Forget them.
That is never okay.
What, the bunny?
The bunny.
Especially at Christmas. Long holiday. Where would you put that? Where would you put that massive rabbit? I wouldn't say that was my favourite sex toy, but it's up there.
Far too frequently, if you ask me.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, dear. I mean, the brief harmony between the two of them after he confides in her doesn't last very long because
The Mark 42.
The Mark 42
abruptly
nearly wipes
wakes
her
her
out.
up.
Yeah.
I do like the dynamic they have.
Why was she so mad about that, by the way?
That's what I asked.
Who did you ask?
Well, she's written in
Pollard.
her notes that we're not following, so go and ask the question.
Well, no, you've basically put it out there. Why was she mad at Tony Stark for Mark 42 attacking her in the middle of the night?
You don't think that would be a problem, though?
But why would she blame him? Because that was obviously a fault of the technology.
Well, no,
it's not
because
like he called upon it.
He's neuromapped it to his consciousness. He's having a dream.
He's having a nightmare,
Yeah.
which he can't really be fully in control of.
But he's in control of the suit vicariously through the fact that he's injected himself with these things that attach him to the suit. The suit's going to go into protective mode.
She's mad at him because the technology he's created nearly
Killed
failed and killed her, rather than looking at the reason why it did it, which is that he is psychologically broken, which is A, why he created it in the first place, and B, why it nearly wiped her out. So surely we should be working, I mean, I don't want to get all deep and psychological, but shouldn't we be working with the root cause issue as opposed to the cause effect?
Causality. Let me ask you this question then, Ishtar. If Mark in his sleep...
Steady, because you've already got me in enough trouble today.
I'll take it. If he started to strangle you whilst he was having a nightmare, would you be alright with that?
No.
Okay, so why would you be upset that Pepper Potts is technically being strangled by a suit of armour just because it's not actually Tony Stark?
Are you saying that I'm strangling it in my sleep?
I'm saying that you might be having a nightmare, and because you're sleepwalking or whatever,
She wouldn't be happy that I'm trying to strangle her, but she would also hopefully appreciate that it was a subconscious, which I don't think that makes it any better, does it? But let's assume that she realised I was having a nightmare about an evil thing that I assume...
From a multiverse that we don't know about.
Yeah, it wasn't her specifically in my dream that I was imagining strangling.
Well, do you think maybe that she's found out that she was in Easter's East and you was trying to kill her off? I mean, let's ask her. You're in the sequel as well, and the first one. If he started strangling you, would you be like, oh, stop it, we've done the foreplay?
No, I'd knee him in the nuts, push him off, and then get really angry.
There you go. So Pepper Potts, all that's happening is Tony Stark has created technology that's an extension of him having a nightmare, strangling her out.
Got it. Okay.
I think we're still comparing apples and pears, but never mind. The good thing is
Or mandarins.
We then follow Happy, who's decided to do a little bit of investigating of the security fella who came with Aldrich. At this point, I've put, it's a good thing the guy can repair himself magically, or else Happy's getting done for GBH. Because not only does Happy slot him one, it sort of is unprovoked because he makes the first move, just Happy, particularly bearing in mind he's just stolen something from the guy. But going by the amount of damage that has to be repaired, I mean, that's one hell of a punch that Happy's just laid on, because the guy's cheekbones completely caved in and there's blood and cuts and all sorts. I mean, one hell of a punch.
Wasn't Happy how going to box her?
Well, I don't know, but he did the guy some serious damage, and that's why I put, it's a good thing he was able to repair himself, because how do you explain to a policeman that you've just stuffed someone's head in unprovoked?
Strangle them out when they're sleeping.
Do not promote that shit.
Well, you wouldn't know, would you? Because you're asleep. That's why it defends your honour.
This is the extremis virus or whatever it is that's in him. It's a really, really interesting, what's the word? Thing, but what's the actual word?
Concept?
No.
Object? Virus? Technology?
Weapon. There we go. Thank you.
It was the only word in the dictionary that you hadn't said.
It's been a long day. It was a really interesting weapon, I think, because we haven't seen something like that before, and I was quite shocked about the fact that they'd just suddenly blown up and then came back to life. That was quite exciting, that scene, actually, for me.
It's very Terminator.
I got James Bond vibes from it a little bit.
James Bond? What?
Because of the virus thing in the last James Bond.
There is no James Bond thing that ever exists where they can grow limbs.
Not the limbs back, but they've taken the virus thing. I don't know why.
Yeah, but it's not really a virus, it's more of a biotech.
Yeah.
It's a nanotechnology.
Yeah.
And nanotechnology is the best thing ever. Let's
obviously,
have some of that.
yeah.
Because basically you can grow back limbs, and that's where the botanist comes in.
Which didn't actually twig at that point. I didn't realise that
What, the botanist? Was that a pun there?
The botanist was involved in it.
I was complimenting you there. A twig botanist.
Oh, right, okay. Shit.
Even when I'm trying to be good, I'm still failing today.
Flew right over
I mean,
that.
hashtag I'll do the humour. The botanist was testing different animals and plants to be able to achieve this extremis virus, which allowed it to be weaponized by Aldrich Killian. They obviously thought it was the Mandarin that was behind it all.
Yeah.
It's a really good concept.
It's
I don't know why you got
fabulous.
James Bond vibes.
It's bloody Terminator 2.
All right, it's
As in-
Terminator.
In fact, it's probably Terminator Genesis because they are using nanotech.
Yeah.
Anyway, I loved it as a weapon. I think that was super interesting, and I think that scene was amazing.
But it also pitches a different type of villain against Iron Man. He's not supported by anybody.
It's not an alien race.
No,
It's
it's a human tech.
Yeah,
It's
that
given
made
it to
it
people who are
interesting.
test beds for this.
Right.
It's kind of a universal soldier
exactly
type vibe going on.
Yeah, that's true.
Where, as we know, not everybody survives the process.
Yeah.
As you see from those test videos, and
Yeah.
people can't regulate the heat.
Yes.
So they explode. We know this is experimental virus
Yeah.
or technology, kind of dies in with death.
No, I loved it. I thought that was great.
Does anyone think that Savin, who's the baddie who we see in this particular scene, sort of give the other guy the thing that blows him up and then he walks off, he's James Badge Dale? Google Australian comedian Adam Hills and tell me that those two aren't the same people.
They look similar, don't they?
There you go.
Right. And where's the other dude?
Hang on, that's a better picture. So there he is.
Okay.
Benefit of the recording, I'm now showing a picture.
You can see a wee bit of a difference. I mean, they're very similar, but yeah, okay, we'll give you that.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know the other guy, so that went right over my head, but now you've showed me.
Did you think Happy was dead at this point?
Hell yeah, I thought Happy was dead. I asked you, is Happy dead? And you were like,
I said he's not very happy.
Yeah, you did.
Grumbly Hogan.
Yeah. No, I thought that was the end of Happy, which was a bit sad, but then obviously not the
No
case.
more happiness.
Yeah, but that wasn't the case, was it?
They wouldn't kill him off, would they? To be honest, he's a really good character.
They've killed Coulson off.
Exactly. Sacrilegious. How could they do that? God damn. I haven't
they?
gotten over that. What? No.
They have.
Leave them.
I quite liked this part because you do see the relationship between Happy and Tony, the bond.
Yeah.
Certainly how close. I know throughout, going back to this scene where he's got his forehead over the screen in the iPad, Tony relentlessly ribs Happy.
Yeah.
Relentlessly. But in this particular scene when in the hospital, you can just see how much Tony
Cares for him.
cares for Happy, how important he is as a person to him.
Yeah.
He's genuinely devastated about this.
Yeah.
And in fact, you see as well earlier on, going back to the scene with Pepper Potts, how important she is to him. He's quite emotionally vulnerable and outward facing in this film, which I really enjoyed. I do feel that you can very quickly see he's prioritised who he wants to protect in this world.
Yeah, I think that's why people overlook him. He's too busy with the bants and they just see the humorous, jokey, not serious Tony Stark. But actually, behind the scenes, there is an affinity to these people. He just hides it very well and laughs it off.
With humour.
Absolutely.
Tony then goes out and does a throwdown, gives his address. If anyone wants to come and visit me, my address is 234 Snowdon Lane in Prestwich, Manchester. Postcode is FT2579J.
You're just giving someone's house that you hate.
That
Well, I'm
was
hoping.
Jiminy.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's not a real address.
Apologies if your house gets bombed.
And if it does get bombed, I would raise the question as to who the fuck wanted to bomb me. I mean, what have I done to anyone to warrant that level of hate? I mean, jokes are bad, but not that bad.
No.
It's the shirts.
Oh, wow.
I
Pot
like
kettle
I
black
know.
sitting over there.
I know, yeah. I look like a humbug.
We'll get a picture out.
To be fair, he has got a shirt for radio.
Oh, God. Don't start. I like this scene, by the way.
Why?
This dramatic Stark house attack scene. Because you don't expect it to be that vicious.
You enjoyed it from an interior design point of view, though,
No, I
didn't you? You were
didn't.
thinking about rebuilding it. Like, oh,
Yeah,
you can have a
she's
Shay Lounge there.
thinking, ooh, I could quote that.
I think this
It's
is...
a very competitive quote.
This seemed quite extreme. This is where the darkness was a bit too much darkness and serious for me. Because, I mean, they could have just blown him up. But
Oh,
they...
you think like 15 helicopter gunships is a bit over the top?
I mean... Yeah.
But it's the Mandarin.
The fucking house fell into the water. I mean, it was very extreme.
Subsidence.
It was very good. It was a very good scene, but it was very dramatic. I wasn't expecting it.
Neither was Tony, that's why it happened.
Although, and also remodelling in Malibu isn't great.
No, well, very expensive.
I mean, that scene was good because what you did see for the first time, which fans probably got proper wet over, Pepper getting the suit.
Yes.
The thing that nearly killed her in the night, the purpose we find, that it's voice activated to hair, and so he was building it for her.
No way. Really?
Did you not pick that vibe up?
No, totally.
So,
did you get that?
So when he's building these suits, he's protecting the people he loves. He tells her the suits are voice activated to you.
Right, okay.
Which
I didn't
fans
pick
would have gone mental over because of what you don't know right now, but you'll know soon.
Right.
Is a little cheeky precursor to what happens in the comics.
Interesting.
And so when the house is being destroyed, he sacrifices himself because he tells the suit to go to her.
Got it.
So when things fall, she's protected.
Yeah.
And obviously then she gets out the house.
Yeah.
And then the suit
goes back
and,
to him.
Yeah.
It's great.
I mean, I feel you focused on the wrong thing here because I was distracted by the size of her heels on her shoe as she was going down the steps.
I missed it.
6 inches.
Oh my God, they were enormous. They were nearly higher than the steps. If she'd taken shoes off, she'd have been at the bottom of the steps.
She's only 3 foot.
They were some naughty heels.
Pardon you.
That was the phone.
That's what you said.
And indeed, before the Pepper heel debacle, we also have Tony doing an investigation of the bomb site using that technology.
Yeah.
It's very clever and very good, and I like the way he sort of deduces that, but I'm not being funny. Do you know when you watch these films, these murder mysteries, and they jump from A to F, and you're like, whoa, hang on a minute, how on earth did you manage to get from there? What will possess him to go, oh, I wonder what Happy was looking and pointing at on the floor? At no point would the first thing in my head to look at Happy, who's just been blown to smithereens, and go, oh, I wonder whether his toes pointing in the right direction of the thing he's trying to communicate.
Doing some yoga pose, and it's like, oh, that's not a yoga pose, it's him pointing towards something.
That's because you're not Tony Stark, Pollard.
All right.
He's intelligent. He's super intelligent, so obviously he would have that thought process in his mind.
Maybe he's trained Happy Hogan, who went, if you ever find yourself in a dangerous situation,
Just point.
position and posture yourself like a
What
letter
happens,
S.
what happens if his arm's been blown off? What does he point with?
Well,
His foot.
yeah.
His foot.
Stump.
She should kill Joy, isn't she?
Well, if his penis gets blown off. That's why 3 balls is
You
probably
just
a good
give
thing.
up, don't you,
Yeah.
if that happens?
Oh my god, yeah, I would. If you got 3 balls, maybe just play with them. For no reason at all.
Relieve the stress.
Yeah, having no penis.
Okay.
This is where it goes very festive. Tony narrowly escapes. There's a pre-existing flight plan to go to wherever it was.
I'll say Montana.
Somewhere in America where there's trees and snow. And he lands there.
Yeah.
And Jarvis goes. He's pal.
Oh, he powers down, doesn't he?
He powers down.
But Jarvis actually does that. He sacrifices his energy to keep the suit warm because don't forget he's underwater, isn't he, at some point? And
Yeah.
the suit's been damaged. He ejects him out of the ocean or wherever he is to, well, I'm going to say Montana because there's loads of snow. And the suit powers down. So he stripped Tony Stark further back. All he is now is a genius playboy billionaire.
Yeah.
Which was alluded to in Avengers Assemble.
Does all right in the cold in his t-shirt. When he arrives at that garage place, he takes the poncho off. But I mean, I'd have been suffering from hypothermia at that point already.
I would have been dead.
Yeah.
Maybe his little art reactor's keeping him warm.
Maybe the poncho goes on, but I'd be straight in that shop to buy some more clothing. And even before he gets into the little kid's gadgetry shop, he takes the poncho off and then leaves the bloody door open. It's like, I'm not being funny, man. It's cold. It's either cold or it's not. And if it's cold, keep your poncho on, shut that fucking door.
It's in the details, Marvel.
It is in the details.
Put the fire on.
You need to hire me along with Kevin Feige between the two of us.
You won't miss out these crucial details that he did.
Did you like the kid?
Yes.
Where
He's
did you
cute.
stand on the kid?
I like him.
On his
He's cute.
toes.
You know, obviously Tony Stark sees a little bit of him inside of him because he's this little outcast.
Lay them.
We did the Jamie Savile joke last episode, so I
Yeah.
can't keep going on with that.
No, but you get what I mean.
Although it's a gift that keeps on giving, isn't it?
Yes, so very cute. I like.
It's a shame he
That
dies in the next film.
Okay.
Horribly.
Okay.
Not Jimmy Savile, the kid,
Okay.
Shoots himself with his potato gun
Oh.
in the penis.
and then gives up.
Yeah.
Because why would
He
you?
gives up on life.
But obviously he helps and he gives Tony a bit of backstory, which is good.
It's good because if you think about the films that come after this that we haven't seen but you're aware of,
But you can't think about them because you've not
because you've
seen them.
seen them, so pretend for a moment that you have.
Okay.
Oh my God, that's got very complicated quickly.
The kid. Let's
Well,
forget
then
this.
try and unravel that
can't
one.
unravel it because unfortunately you haven't seen them, but you have seen them.
But imagine you have seen them, but you haven't.
Forget what I'm about to say. Let's move on.
We get a very Walking Dead style scene at this point. This is where it gets really, well, I say at this point, but it starts getting even more violent because we meet that weird death ginger woman who starts going through losing limbs and trying to kill people. And
It was Defo Walking Dead, I said that as well. I was like, whoa.
You didn't. I said that to you.
Oh, wait a minute. Unless, my God, I married exactly the person I was supposed to marry because we both thought the same thing at the same time. Fist pump.
Twinning.
We like it when we twin. I totally put Walking Dead vibes, not Marvel vibes, when that woman tried to kill him. That's what I wrote down.
Where did you get Walking Dead vibes? Sorry, was she a zombie?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was very Walking Dead-y zombie.
She was.
When she was walking
zombie-esque.
through that cafe place and she had sort of half an arm missing and half a face
and then
missing.
I was like, how the fuck do you kill these zombies? Because obviously they're not killable because they just keep growing back.
Listen, don't look at me, mate. I'm agreeing with everything she says this afternoon.
Twinning. Well, no.
You didn't get the vibes.
I got no vibe.
Oh, right.
And I had a massive rabbit up me.
Oh, right.
There was no vibe taken or given because The Walking Dead don't regrow limbs. Yes. There was
Zombie-esque.
Well, she'd been injured by the gas explosion. However, but when you've been infiltrated by nanotech, she just grew back.
I have Walking Dead written down. I'm with you on this one.
Fine.
Yeah, I ain't sleeping on the settee tonight, so I'm okay with saying it isn't Walking Dead.
Okay.
But it is really violent. I mean, this whole sort of set of scenes
It's
is...
very dark. I'm not used to this level of darkness from
There's lots of people
Marvel.
getting shot and killed. There's
Very
quite a
gory.
high death toll in
There
this,
is.
and it's a quite brutal,
way of killing.
blunt death methodology throughout this film.
Is this got a higher rating than others, like in terms of like PG versus
know.
13? Because I feel like it was a bit more violent than normal. It'd be interesting to know.
In the desensitized society that we live in, I'll be very surprised if it wasn't just a 15.
Potentially.
It wouldn't have got an R rating.
12A.
Right.
What?
Wow. So they've obviously gone, we can cope with that level of violence, and it's fine.
That's surprising. What was number one?
PG.
12A.
No way.
Yeah.
I really felt that this one was
If
a bit
they'd
more
thrown in, I don't know, a couple of
dark.
swear words, it might have got a 15.
Maybe.
Or maybe throw in a pair of tits.
The ranking's fucking ridiculous.
Welcome to the British
obviously.
Board of Certification.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, it was a bit dark, and it's not that I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was interesting just to understand a little bit more about how these people are reacting to this extremist weapon inside of them. But yeah, that was the main
She
question.
just keeps on setting them up, doesn't she?
That was the main question that I had, but was then followed by
Well, Mandarin shooting that defensive tied-up accountant in the head. Although I'm sure we've all wanted to do that to our
was
accountants at
shocking.
some point.
That was shocking.
I've had a
that.
couple of tax returns where I wanted to shoot the delivery of the
Well,
message.
it's an Easter egg I've got, but he was from Roxxon, so it's fine.
Right. Oh.
Roxxon being the massive corporation that Marvel use. I'm not sure whether it's supposed to be a skit at Exxon Valdez.
Oh,
type
got
of-
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're the ones that are like a big, huge conglomerate.
All right. Is that scene though before or after we find out that the botanist works for the Mandarin?
No, way before is all of that. Because this is the point where the president rings up
Yeah,
the
and then
telephone
gets
like,
shafted.
like
Yeah.
a little bitch.
Yeah.
Speak to me.
Gutted.
Don't shoot him.
Yeah.
Don't
and
shoot
he's
him.
like,
Don't
yeah.
know him.
On the
But
plane, is
Don't
this?
shoot him.
No.
That's
No,
before,
it's
isn't
when
it?
the Mandarin's got that video and he's
Yeah.
got the accountant on the floor going, I'm going to shoot this accountant, and
If you don't
everyone
speak
else
to
in the world is going, go on,
He's
do
like-
it.
You'll never see me coming.
Yeah.
Nobody likes accountants, do it.
Yeah.
If you'd like to be a sponsor of the show, accountants, 2 marks and
Whereas-
UK.
With webcams now, you usually do see people coming.
True that. Right on.
That's the problem, isn't it?
On the camera, well, that's the problem. It spoils the view.
Yeah,
then.
it's like, you'll never see me coming. Oh, you just did. I shared it with everybody.
Yeah.
Speaking of people coming, you have the Iron Man superfan in the van.
Yes.
Very funny.
Yeah.
It is funny. Yeah. Because he's very shocked that he's still alive because everybody thinks he's dead.
And
don't they?
yeah, but the guy's got the same haircut.
I know.
got the
And then
same
he's got a tattoo.
beard, and then the tattoo.
That's so cute.
Well, it was a tattoo based upon a dollar, mate.
I know.
Marvel do humour very well
Do you reckon someone's got a tattoo of you on their arm?
on their ass.
Latham. On their ass?
Yeah. I don't know,
Have you
actually.
met her?
Let's have another poll. No, I probably don't meet half of these people because they end up chloroformed in the boot.
Okay, if you were to have a celebrity tattooed on your anatomy...
Marvel?
No, I'll tell you what, let's keep it Marvel because we're very complicated. If you had to pick a Marvel character to be tattooed onto your anatomy, A, where would it go, and B, who would it be?
Loki on my arm.
Would you not put it on your bum because it's cheeky?
Where or your face, cheek?
No.
Yeah.
Still trying, isn't it?
So where on your arm?
On my bicep.
Where's that? Was that a
Bicep.
The little bicep.
Is that a
I've got.
bicep? It looks
Little
like some
bicep.
knots in cotton.
When I've been in the gym, it's a bicep. Right now, it's not very much bicep.
It's like a sort of a flop in it.
So are you going for the Popeye look there?
Yeah, because
with the shirt?
Yeah, because shut up. Says you. Anyway.
Still look like a humbug.
Hey, we are all in blue and white today. Did you notice that? Twinning. Oh, three-way twinning.
No. That's just a Pornhub
anyway,
search.
no, because I would want to be able to flash to everybody that I liked Loki. So if it's on my ass, I'm not flashing my ass, am I?
Yeah, but also, why are you walking around like you're a sort of teapot going one bicep bigger than the other?
No, I'll be just because I wear a sleeveless top and then everyone would see that I like Loki. Anyway, whatever.
Okay, right.
What about you?
I'm
getting attacked by a fly. You first.
I'm still thinking.
Okay, I would probably get...
That widow.
Ooh, no. Obviously, Cap is my man. I suppose it should be him. I was trying to think of some other character who'd be funny to have on there. I've got to stick with Team Cap, haven't I? And I would have a cap on my ass.
Wow.
Thank you.
Original.
That is pretty clever, but also obvious.
Anyways.
Go on then, Clever Clogs. You've had how long to think? I mean, did I come up with that witty retort too quickly for you to actually think of one?
No, I'd have a couple. I'd have Iron Man, but I would have Scarlet Witch on my penis.
There we go.
That's the same one. You see, you're stealing my jokes there.
Drop it like it's hot, Lotham.
She would. I'm probably, to be fair, Captain Britain.
Yeah, that's the one that I would have expected.
That'd be on your bicep.
Or would I have She-Hulk? I might have She-Hulk on one bicep. There's quite a few I'd have. I'd end up looking like a bloody pirate. I just have tats everywhere.
Of Marvel.
Yeah, I just look like a comic book.
Yeah.
Wouldn't I?
Maybe that's a style. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe that is in itself.
There's just loads, but I'm not a big fan of tattoos on me.
Yeah.
Because you get bored, and when you get older, you regret them, don't you? Because can you imagine on your bicep, if you did small,
A weenie.
your weenie, and like just it looked like
It'd
paper
look
mache.
really sad, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
it would just look like sadness.
We're talking hypothetical here. No one is actually
Well, it would
going
look
to
pathetic, to be fair, as well. It looked just like pure sad.
Oh, Lord.
Like you just gone out and you just went, yeah, I've given up on life.
Moving on.
But I'd probably have loads. Scarlet Witch, Iron Man. Or would I have that on my penis? Iron Man.
Really
On my helmet.
wrong
On my helmet.
if you have Iron Man down there.
Iron Man's helmet.
Okay.
Also, hands up who wanted to change some of their passwords to War Machine Rocks.
Yeah, that's funny.
How many people did do that, and how many people then got hacked?
Yes.
Yeah, there had to have been a phishing virus sent out
Absolutely,
shortly thereafter.
Yeah. I mean, probably Marvel suddenly did that just so somebody from Anonymous could hack into everyone's computer.
Yeah.
Who are not a sponsor.
No,
But if
could
they like
be.
to be, yeah.
Love your work.
Shortly after this, we start to get all the baddie reveals. So the people who we think are baddies turn out not to be, and the people who we're not sure about or don't think turn out to be. An avalanche of unveils. So we have Botanist Girl becomes
Big reveal. Whoop, whoop.
becomes baddie. Gillian, obviously, kind of
Killian.
Gillian.
Who's this? Is he another
Killian.
pirate?
Killian.
I said Killian.
You said Gillian.
Killian.
Right. Killian, yeah.
I love the research you two put into this.
Killian is confirmed at this point, we highly suspect. Mandarin, where did we sit on the level of surprise when this unveil? I mean, Ish, we'll start with you because this is the first time you experienced this surprise.
That was well funny because I did not expect him to be an actor. Actually, that was probably the funniest thing of the movie. The guy walks in and's like, you probably won't go in that toilet. That was hilarious. I mean, that's been ripped off so many times in other films, but actually the way you said it was well funny because he'd taken a poop and then walked out.
Thanks for explaining that.
The fact that you had to explain it meant it wasn't that funny.
No, it was very funny. But
Yeah, but I got it because I saw the film.
It's because his poop smelt.
Yeah, because he had to leave it a while.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, you're still on the settee for day 2.
I was doing really well until
Day
then,
three.
wasn't I?
Yeah. Bank holiday
It
weekend.
was funny. It was funny. That was a surprise. I didn't expect that at all.
That is
But I like
shit stink.
No, that he was an actor. I like
was a good
that
twist though, wasn't it?
surprising,
Yeah.
There was quite a few. Actually, talking about this movie now is making me rethink what I had originally thought the rating of this movie might be, and now it might be something different. Because actually, I'm realising a little bit more about actually there were more funny points in it that I didn't see at the
You
beginning.
wrote it off too soon, didn't you?
I think so.
Oh, we've established she doesn't have her own mind.
Oh, yeah.
Day 7.
I want you to do a video diary of how many days you spend in a doghouse and on the settee eating crackers.
They'll do
I'm not
an
gonna
Instagram
cook for him
stories.
anymore. Yeah.
I mean, I actually shit a brick when this happened. I was genuinely taken aback, but highly delighted. The first thing that cropped into my head when he first appears at the beginning is, he's very scary and it's great. And obviously Ben Kingsley is a well-renowned actor, so that was
Brilliant.
quite exciting.
Yeah.
However, the first thing that did strike me was very much, it was like, ooh, this feels really awkward that we've got a white guy playing some very Asian character. Slightly awkward. And then when it happened, I felt a sort of sigh of relief, because it was like,
But did you know at the time that the Mandarin was an Asian character?
I assumed
Because of the name
because
Mandarin.
of the Mandarin and
The way
in fact,
he
I'm not
dresses.
entirely certain I hadn't Googled it going into this, because you do know the Mandarin is in this because he's in the trailers. I would generally, if I come across baddies, I do generally sort of Google them to have at least a modicum of Wikipedia knowledge when I go in.
Which is literally no knowledge. The Mandarin, the way they portrayed him, is a Middle Eastern terrorist, so it's not your go-to to jump to that conclusion. I was just really interested because I obviously know from the comics he's Asian around the time of being politically incorrect. I also know that fans weren't overly enamoured by the choice of Ben Kingsley, who also played Gandhi, so it's not his first whitewashing role. I've also worked with his son, Ben.
Oh,
Not
hang
Ben,
on. God, I've hurt me back picking that name
I know.
up.
I worked with his son on Victoria.
Wow.
There you go. So we know how he got that gig.
Allegedly.
The lawyers are sweating.
We're joking.
Yeah.
Satire.
Yeah, absolutely. But you've managed to get Sir Ben Kingsley, classically trained actor, Oscar winner. The twist for me was really good, because then all the fans that were sweating, going, he's whitewashing, you can't do that, they went, oh, okay, that's very clever.
Although they did then double down by making Aldrich the Mandarin. It's like, okay, we're back to square one again. Awkward.
They alluded to that, but then again, in the comics, there are a lot of times when no one really knows who the Mandarin is, because he very eloquently make it look like other people are pulling the strings, because it's part of this massive organisation. And it's no different than any despot would have lookalikes turning up to events and things, so he doesn't get assassinated. Like with Hydra and other big villainous organisations, you have lots of heads of departments who aren't necessarily ones running things. So all you're doing as you're peeling back these layers, you've got who you thought was the Mandarin, you go, it's not, and then they go, Aldrich Killian goes, oh, I'm the Mandarin. It's like, I'm Spartacus.
The whitewashing thing didn't bother me. I didn't even think about
Well, no,
it.
it didn't bother me. I can see why fans who were expecting what they've read in the comics
Right,
to turn up
okay.
and see. You're looking at it from a non-comic fan perspective. So when people who've seen it, even though in the comics it's slightly racist, went and seen the film, they were like, ooh, you've made him to be an English actor who's not Asian.
It was played excellently, and that twist was unexpected but brilliant, so I loved it.
Fair enough. We're sort of heading now towards the final third part, the big clash at the end. We've got a few parts to play in the midst, so Tony ends up having to do battle with people but without a suit.
The funniest thing was when he gets captured with his ex-flame, the botanist, when he's calling his suit and he's telling the guy he's about to batter, just give us a minute whilst my suit arrives. I quite like that. And obviously then as that moves then into the next part where you see the culmination of what he's been working on, that was good. I'm not sure about other fans whether they were trying to identify if we're talking about the suits and that, are we?
Can do. It's our show, mate. We can do whatever we want.
Well, then we shall. So the suits he's been building, I've paused it to try and identify the suits, and on rewatches.
That's hardcore research-ish.
Yeah, that is, yeah.
So you have what I thought was the Hulkbuster suit, and you've got the one that he uses to go underwater, and you've got the one that he uses for kind of lifting things. There's just loads of different ones from the comics, and a lot of fans probably would have been proper excited by that. Also from a merchandise point of view.
Yeah, you'll sell loads of suits.
It was just really good. I was a bit gutted by the fact that he sets them all to party
He was
mode.
way easily allows it all to blow up.
I
And it
wouldn't have
makes
done that.
no sense to blow it. I get he's trying to prove the point that he feels he doesn't need them, but just put them back in a box.
He's breaking free.
Billions of pounds.
Yeah, because he's a billionaire, gazillion billion.
Right, the equivalent of that is when my mate found himself a female. He found himself a female off a dating site, and to show his, I don't know how you would justify this, but to show his trustworthiness and honesty, in front of it he deleted all of his dating profile accounts. Poor man's version of what he did with Pepper Potts. To prove his commitment to her, he destroys billions of pounds worth of toys.
That could save people's
planet.
lives
Yeah.
further down the line.
And even just be practical, like, lifting things.
And she shouldn't really give a shit anyway, because if she now wakes up in the middle of the night and finds finds the Mark 42 leering menacingly over her, she just touches it and it melts into oblivion with her new superpower.
She might see the Mark 46, although I'm 47 this year.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, don't look it. It's
No,
the
you don't.
oil of Olay.
Yeah.
I thought it was way
If they want
older.
to be a sponsor.
Oil of Olay, yeah. Just smear it right on.
Yeah.
That's the advert right there.
What did you feel about this final scene-ish while you're trying to change your list avidly while she thinks we're not looking?
I liked this scene because I like the fact that all of the Iron Man blah blahs come back and help fight the day.
I can't believe you're just letting that slide.
And yeah, he is, because he's updating his
He's not
list
even
as well
listening,
now.
is he?
Yeah.
He's completely ignored what you
He
just
cannot
said.
multitask, can he?
I'll own that, I can't.
Yeah.
I was drooling as well.
Yeah, you
Sorry.
were a little bit.
Just we'll edit that bit out and put it back in again. Do it again.
No. It's past
No,
now
don't
anyway.
tell him now, yeah.
To the recording.
I liked it. It was exciting. It was a good last chapter of the film. What do you guys call it?
Oh my god, the third scene.
There you go. And yeah, I liked it. It was exciting. Boom. And he wins.
I mean, I liked it because it had all of the suits in there. It had the action with the fight scene. Again, Pepper ends up with the suit of armour, which is great. And then this whole thing about strong female characters, they're there. You just gotta look.
She doesn't really do much.
No, but she does something.
The last minute of
I know,
the
but
show.
the point is what I've always said. The characters have always been there. You don't need to make them. They're there. So when people go, there's not enough strong female characters. Pepper Potts has been looking after Tony Stark from day one. She is his spine. He's just too busy buffooning around and making people laugh and being joking, but internally dying inside. She is his steadfast rock. And all it does by putting a suit of armour on her just reinforces the fact that she's kick-ass without the armour. She's been kick-ass from day one without any armour. Now you're giving her a suit of armour. She's just uber kick-ass. And everyone goes, oh, there's not strong female characters. Behave yourself. They're already there.
Does she lose that superpower?
What, being strong?
Yeah.
No, the extremist thing that's gone inside of her.
She had a lovely six-pack, didn't she?
Yeah,
Oh, she did. Bloody hell, what a body.
That's what happens when you've got a personal trainer.
She owns that wellness brand as well, Goop or something in it.
Well,
so
Goop is literally just putting whale sperm on your face.
whatever,
That's
it
mental.
works. Clearly, it
Well,
works,
it doesn't,
though,
because I've
doesn't it?
tried it with other things. And let me apologise to all those women out there now from 20 years ago who've been gooped. I make it sound like there's loads. There's not.
Okay.
So
There's one.
So the lawsuit won't be massive.
Okay.
Also, I've admitted it now, so I apologise humbly. Do I?
Yeah.
No, that's a bit random. Hair company. She puts all sorts of.
But
mental
her
stuff.
body is amazing.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you don't work 9 to 5 and you have a personal trainer, and she's vegan as well.
She
eats
is
fuck all.
vegan, yeah.
If I ate nothing, I'd look like that,
Yeah, we all would.
and I could walk in heels.
Does she lose her powers, going back to my initial question, because
Yes.
I feel we got distracted? So they took the Stremis thing out of her.
think-
Is
I
that
think over
because you have to
time
keep topping it
You
up?
do. They've not tested it properly, and when you keep taking it, it just basically means that you explode.
And why did he decide to have the shrapnel taken out? I mean, obviously for medical reasons, but why then? Why hadn't he had it done before?
Absolutely. Why did that happen? That's a good question.
What did you think?
Because, I don't know.
No, I honestly don't know. I assumed that they weren't able to get all the shrapnel and therefore he was stuck with what he had permanently, and that it just so happened that that was a great battery for his suit. It now appears that they had the ability or the technology to create the suit anyway, which actually
Yes.
has been
And they
shown
could have
numerous
taken
times.
it out at any
And
point.
so I assumed he just kept it because he had to keep it. Now turns out he could have had it gotten rid of at any point and still have had access to the same suits and same power.
You're talking about his
The
power.
shrapnel, yeah.
Once you remove that, he becomes less of a person, because that becomes him, doesn't it? So I think he's left it in. When you've created this character based on something you connect to, when you remove that, you then think, well, I'm not that person anymore.
So is this symbolic of him being stripped back fully to the
Yeah.
human that he was?
Yeah, he becomes Iron Man because of his experiences with the shrapnel. What comes after, he builds his whole identity around that. And he basically says, doesn't he, in that ad-lib moment of Iron Man, I'm Iron Man.
Yeah.
So he owns the whole thing, but then when you take back the fact that actually you don't have the suit of armour and you take the shrapnel away, he's just essentially
A
Tony
guy.
Stark, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is any one of us. He hasn't got any superpowers, he isn't a Norse god, he's literally just a man with money and brains.
Yeah.
And when you've taken all that away because of your experiences with the Chitauri, you then feel vulnerable.
Okay.
And we've never seen that with Tony Stark before, because he's always played it off as a, I'll just create a suit or whatever, or I'll address it with technology. I think that was why this film really shone for me.
Imodium's a great solution if you've had a problem with the Chitauri.
Well, I'll leave it for 20 minutes.
I was quite surprised that Killian had 3 balls because presumably he repeatedly has the injections for what appears to be sort of steroids because he could breathe fire and do lots more. So presumably he was pumping himself more full of the stuff than the ordinary people.
Yeah.
And obviously alleged side effect of such steps is that your nuts recede into your eyeballs.
You become a junkie then, don't you?
Yeah.
And you become addicted to it, like Aldrich Killian. You've just got so much in it, you then become overpowered.
It was ridiculous he could breathe fire though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's when he got to the point where he
Superhuman.
was just being stupid.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't have lasted. That was on a slippery slope anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, well, suppose we should mention the final end credits scene. Have I missed anything? Going by my notes here, but has anyone else got any more notes?
Oh, we've missed a couple of things. He
All
takes over
right,
the
all right. Everyone's a critic.
Iron Patriot.
Oh, Afghanistan.
The
Air Force
machine.
Air
One.
Force
Yeah.
One, yeah.
The
Stunts.
what-ish?
What?
The machine.
The machine. Iron Patriot.
Fuck off.
Quite like the stunts where Iron Man's carrying like all the passengers off Air Force One.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's all I was going to mention.
Okay.
You're talking about the post-credit scene where Tony been telling the story to Bruce Banner.
Yeah. I mean, that was a bit of a duff
Why'd you look
post-credit scene,
Because
really.
it wasn't as exciting as the other post-credits.
It doesn't really set anything up, does it?
No, not really. So I was a bit like, okay.
Have we missed anything off
What
of your note?
No.
What it does show is the continuance of his bromance with Bruce Banner. They connected on a genius level in Avengers Assemble.
Yeah.
It was nice. It wasn't what you'd expect for a post-credit scene. You get that impression that he's been regaling the story we've just watched whilst on a couch and Bruce Banner's fallen asleep.
Right.
Which is a bit like you watching this film, which is meta, isn't it, really?
Now,
You are Bruce Banner.
I am. Surprise.
Yeah.
she definitely liked the Hulk when they would get home.
Day 21.
You're going to just be on that settee forever. Your anniversary is going to be on that
I've
settee.
committed now. Before we move on to my favourite section of the show, have we got any Easter eggs that we can actually discuss at this juncture? We've now established there are billions of Easter eggs in this film, and it'd actually be quite interesting to revisit these Easter eggs further down the line, but actually
We can't
really do that.
There's quite a few that have impact further down the chronology of the movies in the future, which we will hark back to when we do those reviews. The ones that you will notably remember, apart from the extremist storyline, is from the comics that was in this film. The 90s flashback to when he first meets Aldrich Killian whilst he's at the party. He bumps into Ho Yinsen. People will remember from Iron Man 1 is the guy in the cave.
Yeah, did you recognise him?
Only because you told me.
Oh.
Okay, people will know from the first film that helped him build his first suit, at least create the arc reactor that stops the shrapnel from
He
going.
created Iron Man.
You did.
But also we know from the fact that he has had involvement with Howard Stark as well. Maybe can't talk about right now. We've already mentioned his PTSD from the Battle of New York, which I thought was good. We see the drawing the kid does that sets him off having a panic attack with the Avengers Tower and the bomb. We've already mentioned that the accountant that gets shot works for Roxxon, the villainous corporate company that's in loads of Marvel properties. The Mandarin is an actor that's hired by Aldrich Killian. What we do find out, the 10 rings in the short called All Hail the King, that actually the real Mandarin does exist. It is very quickly explained. It's the terror organisation that kidnapped the original Iron Man, which you mentioned.
Yeah.
Aldrich mentions that everything changed after Thor's arrival on Earth because that drew attention to extra-dimensional threats. Trevor Slattery has a tattoo of Captain America's shield on his neck.
Can I just say, being born and bred on the Wirral, which is near Merseyside, in which Liverpool is placed, and for me, having lived here for 20 years, I can honestly say that's an exceedingly dodgy Liverpool accent that old Mr. Kingsley puts on.
That's not a Liverpool accent he's got on there.
He tries to do it. He's watching Liverpool and he keeps on trying to do a Liverpool accent. And in future... yeah, it goes all Cockney.
It's the other way around.
Is it?
Yeah, he's Cockney in this.
He keeps on trying to talk like George Harrison. In this film, he tries to talk like George Harrison from the Beatles. Write in, let us know. What do you think, people?
He does more Cockney than he does Scouse.
No. Although, supporting Liverpool, that is kind of what most people do. They mainly don't live in Liverpool.
So yeah, write in, let us know. The only other addition to the Easter egg section, for ones I can mention, the post-credit scene that we've talked about.
Cool. moving swiftly on to my favourite part of the show, we have been collating our list of our top 10 favourite Marvel movies, and we are now up to film number 9. So we are nearly completing the top 10, and we'll have to start bumping films out of the top 10. We mark them out of 10, of course. Who wants to go first here to give us their score out of 10 for Iron Man 3 and regale their list of wonderment to explain?
Play them.
Oh,
Apparently it's me.
Lay them. Do you want to run through your existing list and then tell us where Iron Man 3's slotting in?
My top 8.
Yeah.
I have 1 is Avengers Assemble that I gave 9 out of 10. Iron Man I gave 9 out of 10, which is at number 2. Number 3 is Iron Man 2, 8 out of 10. Number 4 is Captain Marvel, which I gave 8 out of 10. Number 5 is Captain America First Avenger that I gave 7 out of 10. 6 is Thor that I gave 7 out of 10. And underneath that, at number 7 is Thor Dark World that I gave 7 out of 10. 8 is Hulk that I gave 6 out of 10.
Okay.
You want me to tell you what I give?
Yeah, I do.
Iron Man 3, I'd give it 8 out of 10.
Okay, explain.
I think I kind of covered it early on. I liked that we see Tony Stark stripped back. Every time we've seen him before, he's making jokes and everyone thinks he's impervious. It's nice to touch upon and not throw away and lose a really good story arc. The impact of what he saw in Avengers Assemble has really caused him to shift his mindset and shape what we see in the future. This has been his turning point. Thought it added value to his character. And it was darker, which I'm happy with. I don't think things need to be dark for the sake of making them dark. It still had the humour, it still had the action, it still brought in characters that people are familiar with from the comics. For those reasons, I've given it an 8.
And where is it going to slot? Because you've given Iron Man 2 and Captain Marvel 8 out of 10, so where is it going?
It's going to go between Iron Man and Iron Man 2.
Okay.
Wow.
So it's going number 3 in your list.
Yeah.
Wow.
Blimey, that's high.
Although Iron Man 2 was good, the villains in it weren't as strong as the ones in here. Whiplash only had the power of the arc reactor. The extremist virus created a villain
Next level.
that was really hard. I also like the fact that he'd been building all these suits. It wasn't a case of it was just him on his own, because you could argue, well, they get battered. He didn't. He had 40 odd suits of armour and then also brought in the power of Pepper. I quite like that dynamic.
Yeah, I can find Pepper being overpowering sometimes. Put too much of it in your food. Thank you. Right, who wants to go next?
You go next.
Okay, my existing list is Avengers Assemble 10 out of 10, because that's the score that should have been given by everyone. Iron Man 9 out of 10, Captain America First Avenger 8 out of 10, Thor 8 out of 10, Iron Man 2 8 out of 10, Captain Marvel 7, Thor The Dark World 6, and Hulk got 4 because it was shit. I'm struggling here because I can't decide whether to give it a 7 or an 8. I really enjoyed this film, but I didn't like the baddies as much as I think you did. I actually liked the more rawness exploration of Tony as opposed to the baddie bit. You could have actually swerved the baddie bit entirely and I'd have been quite happy. So I think because it's got... God.
Commit, Collard.
I know. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 and I'm going to put it above Iron Man 2. I think Latham has persuaded me there that is the right place to put it. So it goes in at number 5 on my list. It's above Iron Man 2, Captain Marvel, Thor Dark World and Hulk, but below Thor, Captain America, Iron Man and Avengers Assemble.
Are you ready?
Is Flip Flop Ali?
Oh, yes. I mean, whilst I've been talking, your notes have been updating. Have you changed Avengers Assemble's score?
No.
Have you not?
No, I haven't.
I'm sure
That's
I saw
always
the
been...
text change.
No, it said Avengers, but I just put Avengers Assemble to be accurate. Anyway.
Now she's been pedantic about the title.
Right, my scoring was Avengers Assemble 9 out of 10, number 1.
Wrong.
2, Iron Man 1, 9 out of 10. Iron Man 2, 8 out of 10. Thor, 7 out of 10 at number 4. 5, Captain America, 5 out of 10. And then I had...
What? Captain America you gave 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10, but he was number 5 in my list.
Yeah.
Number 6 in my list was Thor Dark World, 6 out of 10. Number 7 was Captain Marvel, 6 out of 10. And number 8 was Hulk, 1 out of 10, which was absolutely deserved. Now, I have carefully thought about what
you flip-flopped, because I saw what score you put this at the beginning. You've changed
Says
the notes.
You were just flip-flopping for half an hour. Let me talk. So, as a result of your very... persuasive and, knowledgeable information, and as a result
Why are you
of
looking looking at him for that description.
As a result of today's recording, I'm going to put Iron Man 3 in at number 6 after Captain America and give it a 6 out of 10. The reason I'm giving it a 6 instead of an 8 like you two is because the things that you loved about the film I didn't enjoy about the film. I didn't like the fact that it was this dark. I didn't like the fact that it was that serious. I go to a movie and watch movies, and particularly have enjoyed Marvel movies because of the comedy and the lightheartedness and the fact that it throws things into the mix that you wouldn't be expecting. And I think there was a little bit of that, but not to the extent that I've seen so far. And so for me, this was a bit too dark and too serious. I think you could have got the PTSD thing in a different way and not been so serious about it. So
because nothing serious about PTSD. It's all just
no offense to anyone,
bit of a laugh.
but it was, you want to go and be entertained. I feel like I wasn't as entertained because it was too serious and didn't really enjoy it from that perspective.
Have you prorated your score based on the amount of film you actually were awake to watch?
I did watch the whole thing. We rewinded for the part that I missed,
Okay,
so I have
I'm not
watched
sure whether
the
you
whole
were given
thing.
sort of 6 out of 10 for...
No. It was a 6 out of 10 based on the full movie and
Right, not 20 minutes of it.
considered feedback from you too. So yeah.
Okie dokie. Moving on to the second part of our rating system, where we want to rank our top 10 Marvel characters, which is already getting increasingly more difficult and somewhat contentious. So, who
Only
wants...
for you, by the way, who has a problem with our rankings every
Because
single
they're
bloody
wrong.
week.
I know.
Yeah.
Who wants to upset me first?
I will go first because there ain't shit changing on my list based on this film, other than the fact that Aldrich Killian is coming in at 11, Trevor Slattery is coming in at 12, and Happy Hogan at 13, which obviously doesn't go into my top 10. Everybody else stays the same. I'm not changing Iron Man.
Read out your list.
Okay, 1 Loki, 2 Black Widow, 3 Iron Man, 4 Thor, 5 Nick Fury, 6 Hulk, 7 Hawkeye, 8 Captain America, 9 Coulson, 10 Thanos.
I mean, I'm still... I'm not letting the Thanos thing go.
We've discussed the Thanos thing, and that is what it is.
Thanos hasn't appeared in all but about half a second so far.
She's
That
doing it
was
on
a powerful second.
Doesn't make any difference. She's doing it on a technicality because I throw in Ronan the Accuser.
I know, but that doesn't make either of you bloody right.
Well, it's our show and we can do what we
Not
want.
your show, love.
Pulling you up on the 11th,
Gaggers.
on the 11th, 12th, and 13th position. So you're saying that Aldrich Killian is a more favourite character for you than Trevor Slattery and Happy Hogan,
I like baddies. I think
And
we've
that-
established
and
that.
that Happy Hogan out of the three of them is the least favourite, despite the fact that he is absolutely on form in this film.
Trevor Slattery for me was more funny.
Yeah, but Aldrich Killian wasn't.
Aldrich Gillian doesn't exist.
Aldrich Killian.
Aldrich Killian.
See, you're
For the
doing
love
it
of
now.
God, man. These are fucking fans. Can you believe it? I know it's a heresy.
Aldrich Killian was a very good baddie. And I'm not moving Iron Man down, even though he was a bit shit in this film, just because I'm going to just
Can't
swipe
move him
over
down.
the fact that, you know, this wasn't my favourite film, but I love him. And I'm not moving Coulson out because I miss him.
Can't move the characters unless
I know,
they're
I'm
in the
saying
film.
I wouldn't have put Aldrich at number 9 because I still think Coulson is a better character than Aldrich Killian. So that's my list.
Lay them. Do you want to go next?
No, you go next because you always
Okay.
complain that you go last.
He does.
And you can't do that now, can you?
Okay, so my existing previous list was Captain America 1, woo! Iron Man 2, 3 Loki, 4 Thor, that was a mouthful, 5 Black Widow, 6 Hawkeye, 7 Hulk, as in Hulk 2, not the shit one, 8 Nick Fury, 9 was Darcy Lewis, 10 Agent Coulson. So, yeah, you'll note that I have only characters who have been in the actual films as proper characters, not the horse shit tomfoolery that you guys apply. I am going to make a change to my list. I am moving Happy Hogan into the top 10. He's going in at number 9, bumping Darcy Lewis down to 10 and Agent Coulson out of the top 10.
Boo.
Okay.
Because I think Happy's been a great character in all 3 of the Iron Man movies. I think he was a real shining light in this one. He was hilarious in those initial opening scenes, and he's funny at the end, and there is a little bit of a soft spot for Happy.
You like a happy ending, don't
I
you?
love a happy ending.
It'll be a long way off that, the way you've gone today.
Outside of my top 10, sort of moving people around outside of the top 10 because I want to kind of keep track of the other characters in case I want to move them up when they're
Can I just note to the listeners realise right now that me and Latham's top 10 basically has extended to about 13 or 14. Pollard's list extends beyond 10 to 32.
Yeah, no, but
32.
Talk about sitting on a fence.
no, it's
Wow.
not. No, it's not. I'm keeping a track of the characters I like.
The point-
and keeping them ranked, so as they drop out the top 10, I'm keeping them in the order so that if the next film comes along and they're in there, I can go, oh, actually.
I know that, but the point is that you found a slot for 32 people and me and Latham have not.
Yeah, I mean, you've literally categorised every person in the MCU.
that walks into
So,
the MCU.
for the information, Trevor Slattery goes in at 16. Rhodey jumps above Pepper Pot because I really like Rhodey in this film. I don't think we've actually talked about him as a character.
No.
He's some nice comic relief throughout this.
I think he will have more to do in the future that we don't know.
Are you just guessing
Yeah,
there?
it's a guess, yeah. It's a guess based on not knowing the future.
So, Latham, do you want to run through your top 10 that has been the same for the last two films?
This is
And
where-
I'm going to gamble.
Are there any changes?
Well,
Latham?
don't
let me
spoil.
say-
I would otherwise ordinarily gamble that it's staying the same.
Do you want me to read just the top 10 or the fact that I've got 14?
Yeah, you could go through the 14.
Okay, so number 1 is Iron Man, number 2 is Loki, but cheeky. Number 3 is Talos, number 4 is Red Skull, 5 is Bucky Barnes, 6 Captain America, 7 Agent Peggy Carter, 8 is Ronan the Accuser, number 9 is Abomination, number 10 is Thunderbolt Ross.
Fucking brilliant list, that.
It's a
pantomime.
ridiculous list.
Number 11 is Whiplash, number 12 is Pepper Potts, Nick Fury is number 13, and Happy Hogan is 14. Now, I have a couple of additions to this.
Why was there a paper boy who drove by in one
Steve.
scene for the briefest of seconds? Is he
Big,
going
big
at
Steve,
number
big Steve.
2?
I'm going to remove...
I mean, you can't. You can only put someone in and that bumps everyone automatically.
Okay, put in, at number 5, Aldrich Killian.
Oh, fuck off. So above Bucky Barnes?
Yeah, put in at number 6, the Mandarin. I nearly said the Mandalorian.
Yeah, but you can't
then.
do the Mandarin. Which Mandarin?
Hang on a minute. why
Because we
can't I-
haven't established who the Mandarin is. Because at this junction, isn't Aldrich Killian
Wasn't the Mandarin in this
the
film?
Mandarin?
Wasn't the Mandarin in this film?
Yeah, but he wasn't the Mandarin because
Doesn't
it
matter,
turns
though.
out Trevor
Doesn't matter.
Slattery wasn't the Mandarin. Aldrich says, I'm the Mandarin.
I'm gonna-
And you've already got Aldrich in your list, so you can't have Aldrich in twice.
Can we put Trevor Slattery in as
No,
the...
because he's the actor playing the Mandarin. I'm
So
gonna put in
who's the Mandarin? He's not. No.
It's my top 10!
No, you can't do that. I know what you're trying to do, and you can't do that.
My God. Oh my God, you can't create a rule and then change the rule because it doesn't mean your fucking narrative.
He's not. At this juncture, he's not the Mandarin.
in this film until you knew.
Yeah, but you
Aldrich
don't,
Killian.
so you can't do it. It's a spoiler.
Oh my God.
In Iron Man 3, we have two people who claim to be the Mandarin. Trevor Slattery, who we've established isn't in your top 10, and Aldrich Killian, who you've put in at number 5. There is no third option.
But he was the Mandarin there, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Until
but
he
you
wasn't.
can't have him twice. So you can either have the Mandarin in or Aldrich Killian. You can't have both because they are essentially one and the same at this point in the Marvel
Go
universe.
to the end credit. What's Aldrich Killian down as?
I don't know.
If he's down as Aldrich Killian, he's not the Mandarin.
Yeah, but there is no Mandarin.
Does it say Terry Slattery,
Yeah.
Trevor Slattery?
Yeah.
One of them.
So there
So
you
there
go.
is no Mandarin.
So then
so
you
at this
can't have
juncture,
it.
you can't have him because he hasn't yet appeared.
I think you're giving me far too much credit for thinking ahead of time.
Take him out. Because that's
Well, no,
fair. He's
Aldrich-
not in the...
He's not in the
Aldrich
film.
Killian's in the film though, and I'm going to have him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's staying the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So I'm removing your new 6. Bucky goes back to 6.
What?
Bucky was...
What-
So
what
you've
is-
got Iron Man, Loki, Talos, Red Skull, Aldrich
Aldrich.
Killian,
Yes.
Bucky Barnes, Captain America, Agent Carter, Ronan the Accuser, and
Abomination.
Abomination is your top 10 at the
Okay, and
minute.
I'm going to throw in.
Don't upset me again. I can't take it twice.
Go on.
Oh my god.
Do it.
He is. He's going to do something absolutely latham.
You've messed me up a little bit. I'm going to put in Trevor Slattery, aka Mandarin, instead of Captain America.
So at number 7,
6. I was thinking moving it down.
is he above Bucky Barnes or below?
Below.
Below Bucky Barnes. Got it. Okay.
I mean, at least Trevor Slattery has been in the film, which is more than can be said for Abomination, and albeit he was in the film, barely, Ronan the Accuser.
Right, the only thing you can get me on is Ronan the Accuser,
And that's what
technically. I mean, Abomination was in the Hulk.
And let me pull you back to your original criteria for your top 10, which was being the biggest badasses on the planet who would win any fight. Where's Trevor Slattery fitting into that criteria?
The same way as Talos for the absolute humour.
But also, from the psychological
Like,
point of view,
kills
is
people with laughter.
in the point of the movie, you didn't know he wasn't an actor. You know he's an actor now. When you thought he was a terrorist, you shat yourself. You'll never see me coming.
Bravo. Very nice. I am surprised that Red Skull is still as high as he is, though.
Yep.
Interesting.
I mean, that is the general response. Some people who are
Latham,
not
that don't understand Latham logic.
Yeah.
Every time I feel like I'm going to get Latham logic, you just throw a bomb in there and then Latham logic just...
It's a logic bomb.
But that was the Mandarin.
Yeah, I threw a fruit in.
Got it.
It'll all make sense. Mark's giving me far too much credit for thinking it's a tactical thing. It's not. It's because at the point of watching the film, although he didn't get mentioned as the Mandarin, you thought he was the Mandarin.
But bravo on keeping Bucky Barnes so high in your
Aldrich
list.
Killian is a character. That's nothing to do with being a Mandarin. That's what MCU did. That's not comics.
I mean, bravo on just continually upsetting me because that's what makes this the most exciting part of the show for me.
Your
because
heckles.
I'm sitting here on tenterhooks, my nerves are shot, waiting for what wonderments you two are going to lob into the mix that I'm going to have to challenge vehemently, as I'm sure are our listeners. And you never fail to deliver, as far as I'm concerned.
Happy to help.
I love your list.
If we were going to have a big, huge fight,
Your list probably
every
would pick
time
everyone.
I disagree. I mean, we'll
Well,
have
we're
the-
gonna go
when
it.
we've got our final top tens, we can have this debate some more. I insist, mine is badass.
well, I think what we should do at the end is we should do a kind of top trumps type thing
Okay.
and see who would waste each other.
Yeah.
So far, you've got Happy Hogan.
I've got Captain America, Iron Man, Loki, Thor. I mean, we're talking big hitters, Hulk.
Go on, Happy and
That's-
Darcy. Yeah.
Happy and Darcy, yeah.
Well, yeah, no, but they're not necessarily going to stay
Fury.
there.
Yeah.
Well, without putting too fine a point on, we've got another 20 movies. The chances are they probably aren't going to be in the top 10 come the end of my
Look,
final
what I will
list.
say is mine and your list are probably a little bit more
'Cause we've still
emotionally
got-
sensitive as opposed to Latham's emotional senselessness.
No, but we've still got Doctor Strange to come in, Black Panther to come in, Ant-Man to come in. There's still Spider-Man to come
Yeah.
in. There are some massive big
Guardians,
hitter.
yeah.
The Guardians of the Galaxy, exactly. The chances of Happy Hogan and Darcy Lewis still being in my top 10 at that point
They'll
is...
still be in your 32 though, won't they?
So
I'll have way.
52 by then.
Yeah. See, right now, 3 of yours would be wasted immediately by just a paper cut.
True
You might
story.
have a top 10, but it's really a top 5. The rest of mine was to pound your top 5. Darcy, what you going to do? Work out what pie?
She'll scythe you down with witty bants and sarcasm.
Yeah, I think the Abomination would just spark her right out, and then Nick Fury just poke his other eye out. Done.
Okay.
Well,
Thanks.
if you agree or disagree with any of us, let us know. Let us know on the socials, Instagram, Facebook and Twitter at The Two Marks. Email us, thetwomarks@thepodstation.co.uk. Go and check out all of our shows. We're on thepodstation.co.uk. Go to the Two Marks tab. We're on all major podcast platforms, so it's dead easy to find all of our shows. Yeah, go and listen to them. Listen to all the Marvel rewatches. Which one are we doing next? It's Captain America, isn't it? Winter Soldier.
Yeah, very excited about this, aren't you?
Yeah, big hitters.
So yes, thank you for listening. Tune in next episode. Excelsior!
Get social at The Two Marks on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also check them out on YouTube.